Welcome to Midweek Medicine. You are the medicine. And this week we're talking about togetherness and what that actually means. I had to actually look it up just to get some pointers on it. And it means an emotional state of closeness with warm fellowship, belonging, intimacy, solidarity within families, teams, communities. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because you were talking about it the other day, and I was thinking, what does that really mean? I mean, automatically we think about togetherness as being in a partnership. We think about it as being a marriage, relationship. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Joe?
For me, togetherness is connection, right? Connection, which then becomes community. And how do we, really finding our community that really empowers us and supports us to become the best version of ourselves? Because we can have communities that just hold us back, communities that don't really serve each other. For me, it's an equal exchange of energy. Right. Is togetherness. So it doesn't have to be intimate. It doesn't have to be relationships. It can be togetherness with everything. Togetherness with nature. Our roots. We take it down that deep. We go back to the roots of where we come from. That's togetherness. We are all together, but we've got to sometimes be so good at disconnecting and taking ourselves out of that connection and the support, because we don't want to ask for help if something's going wrong. We don't want to do something, but actually that's the time you really need to lean on people, because then it helps you feel that we are connected. We are supported, we are loved.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about about pets and animals and how people are so connected with their animals because, they give unconditional love and support, and they don't speak. They just do a bit of barking or meowing, which, and it's that unconditional love that you receive from them. Whereas in community, I mean, I don't know if you've tried to live in community or, connect with people and create this world, because it's so disconnected in so many ways, with using our phones and computers and connecting people that way, then the sort of natural way of communicating and just meeting people organically and, has kind of, in some areas, kind of disappeared. I'm sure for some people.
I mean, if you even look where, when I was met you and I was living in Bali as well, on an island, you look at their community, you look at their togetherness, the locals, and how, when one family doesn't have food or can't feed, everyone will come together, and this is where we've also, as a massive Western society, there's always been the split and divide. We're always being pushed to split and divide, to pick and choose. And by doing that, it actually separates us. It separates us from that togetherness, from that connection, from our community. How many people hang out with their neighbors?
Yeah. Well, I think when I lived in London, I barely knew most of my neighbors, You didn't really integrate unless you were part of another community that you would go to, or there were some communities, don't get me wrong, but it's much harder. I mean, obviously in Bali it's different. People tend to talk to each other, people tend to connect. There's lots of different communities here that you can join, and obviously the locals, there's a strong sense of community. They're living together, they're creating together, it's a very kind of solid network. But I was thinking more like in Western society, where more and more people are living alone, and everyone's doing their jobs and working 9 to 5, and how much spare time do they actually have? And maybe some of that spare time they actually want to spend alone.
I do get that. I love my alone time too.
Well, you said like in nature. Yeah,
definitely. But I think it's important to, we don't want to spend, yes, we all need to be alone. We do need time alone. Absolutely. I think it's very important. And I think a lot of people can't spend time alone. So they distract themselves, which is why we spend so much time doom scrolling and doing all these things that are actually taking us out of being present. But if you can, some points in your week, You need community. You need to connect with, whether it's a person, whether it's a group of people, we need community. We need togetherness. We need to come together and, to be able to support and love each other.
Yeah. I mean, connection is key. And, to be seen, to belong, we all innately want to belong. We want to be seen and heard. We want connection. But I just see that we're probably going to go back to that now. It's taken us so far away with our phones and doing everything on our phones. Everyone's on a phone. I mean, if you go to a cafe here these days, everyone's on a phone. I'm sure it's probably the same in the West. Everyone's just, working on their phones, connecting to people on their phones. But I think, if the whole network goes down, we don't have a phone. Where will that leave us? Take that away. What do you have?
And that's why we need community. Definitely. Because when it does all, if it does all go down and we don't know, we have no control over what's going on externally to us. No. But if we do actually have our community, and it doesn't have to be your friends and family, it can just be a community that you resonate with, a community, if somebody, like I always say to some of my clients, join communities that you can meet people that are going through the same thing as you, because then you feel supported, you feel heard, you feel, you can be yourself, you can be vulnerable because you're all going through the same thing. Yeah. So it makes you feel like then you realize it's not just you, that, that there are so many people, so many of us are going through the same journey, and when you can find that community, it's like, it feels so much better and easier to actually navigate that journey. Especially if it's something like an illness or a disease or, or a divorce or whatever it is, if you can find a community that supports you in that way, you're all like-minded people. It's going to make you feel like this is not just you. You're not just struggling all by yourself. Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important.
I think it's quite hard though. I mean, when you're going through divorce, I think it's actually quite hard to connect with other people and find other people that are going through divorce because you're so consumed by your own situation.
That's right.
Hobbies. And it's about creating that, isn't it? It's about taking time to create areas in your life where you can have connection with others, and areas in your life you can spend time alone, areas in your life you can spend time with nature, and so you can sort of have a rounded, sort of balanced life. And
I think, that's a beautiful thing, is finding that balance. I know we all say we don't have enough time to do these things for ourselves, but actually every single person on this earth has the same amount of time in a day. And yet some people can create 5 minutes for themselves to go and be present and, slow down, pause, stop, take a few breaths, whatever it is. We all have exactly the same amount of time in a day, but it's what we do choose to do with it. And I think that, it's very easy. You don't even have to do much. You can just take 5 minutes, go sit, not with your phone, not with anything. Just become very, very present in yourself. And be able to sit and, go quiet and let the mind just slow down a little bit. Because there's a lot that we get from those moments.
Absolutely. I mean, they're very restorative and like we can hear and see, you're in nature, I'm living in the jungle. So, we have a lot of nature around us, and it actually made me realize I've only been here a couple of months or so. And it's just like, I'm so used to the peace here of listening to the birds and seeing butterflies and dragonflies. And, so I can be busy doing something and then just go and sit there. And it's, it's a whole other world. Yeah. So, I mean, we're really lucky to have nature around us. And, nature is such a powerful tool, like about grounding and putting your feet on the ground and, getting that sort of energy from the earth, which, helps to balance our body, our life.
Even on it, really, like they've scientifically proven now that, there's so much research out on going and being barefoot on earth. And I say to people, I'm like, go, especially if you're carrying a lot of information, spend every day, just 10 minutes a day. That's all you need, 10 minutes a day, barefoot on the ground, because the electromagnetic field absorbs so much of the information that we carry in our bodies, because we are energy. Like we are all part of the same system. And people don't realize, if you do that every day, how much it shifts and changes your health, your wellness physically. Not just makes you feel nice and emotionally and everything else. And if you've had a shit day, to go into nature, it makes you feel instantly nice, but actually physically the impact it's having on our bodies as well.
Yeah, it's kind of decompressing all that sort of energy, and especially being around computers, which most of us are, to get away from that. And then actually to release all the, the electromagnetic field that we're constantly living in, with Wi-Fi and our phones and, getting all these signals. So, yeah, I try and do that. My grass is a bit high here. I have had a big snake, so I get a little worried about where my find crawling
with you. You'll be okay. The snake is more scared of you than you are of it.
Yeah, no, it was fine. Yeah. So what else do we want to talk about today, do you think?
I mean, I guess it's just all comes back to, really, what does balance mean? Let's talk about balance. What does it mean in one's life? Like, how do we really find a good balance? How are we creating joy in our lives? Yeah. We live these really stressful lives, and we're always so busy doing and working and family and children and all these things. But actually, like, how much of our lives actually feel very balanced? Like, how many people actually have managed to figure out, this is the balance. This is what I need. This is my time. This is your time. This is family time. This is work time.
Yeah, and it's keeping that going, isn't it? Because we sometimes forget. Obviously I have a lot of time for myself, but not that much responsibility for others. But yeah, just reminding us actually what brings us joy. Because then when we do spend a little bit of time out, even it could be quite short amount of time, we really, we just like renew ourselves. We renew our energy. We just create more joy by doing things we love to do. I'm always writing like a list, like, what is it? All these things I want to do when I'm actually working. It's like, no, I actually want to do this. I want to create this. So yeah, it's like reminding ourselves and maybe making a list. So when we do have some time, or, we can set it up so we do some work and then we actually do some fun things, some joyful things that we want to do, just don't get around to doing. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really important. And I say to a lot of my clients, I'm like, we create so much, life becomes so serious. We become so weighed down by life that actually we're not in love with it anymore. But when we start creating joy and finding little pockets of joy, even if it means going and buying an ice cream, whatever it is. For me, I love to dance. I just put a song on and dance, and just go crazy all by myself. Yeah. But that brings me joy. And then I feel like instantly, I'm like back in my, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm back, I'm aligned, I'm centered. And, I think people, to be able to fall back in love with life, you have to create joy, because we're not here for life to be so serious. We don't have these senses to experience this life. We won't put here with everything we have to not enjoy it. So absolutely. I think it's really, really important to be able to find every day something that lights you up. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how big, how small. It could just whatever it is. But just find that moment of joy. It reminds you of, wow, okay, this brought me joy. This makes me smile. This makes my heart feel full. Yay. Then you can actually navigate everything else.
Exactly. And it's a practice of putting that in. And for me, it's quite, like you say, you just go and dance around the house and put music on. I'm always just singing. I've got these instruments everywhere. I'm sort of actually, I want to be playing them instead of sitting at my computer doing something that, it's difficult or challenging. But yeah, it just breaks the energy, or just having breaks in between work as well. You can just fit in little breaks and just moving around, shaking. I'm always doing a little bit of shaking. Shaking is really good. Sort of just change your energy, loosen up the body, and just being more joyful, finding things that make you smile and make you laugh.
Laugh at yourself. Like, do something that you actually laugh at yourself. You don't have to have anyone laughing with you. We're laughing. Exactly. Just laugh at yourself. Be like, oh my God, you're actually very funny. Yeah. And that brings you joy.
Yeah, the inner child. It's like giving them, the freedom. I think we all want to be free. We want to feel the freedom to be able to do what we want. And most of us kind of work for ourselves or whatever. So we have that time. We can do that quite easily. It's just reminding ourselves to make that time. And it doesn't have to be long periods of time, but just getting out there and having things to look forward to and trying new things. I always find trying new things is always it doesn't matter if you don't like it, but it's just finding new ways of, seeing life and, having some plans and something to look forward to that you're excited about, whatever that.
Trying new things means stepping out of a comfort zone. It's not always just doing the same old stuff you do every day. When you decide to go and try new things, whatever it is, you're stepping out of a comfort zone, and it will make you feel like, oh, do I really want to do this? But actually, if you just do it, there's something you're going to get from it. There's some growth in it. There's something that you're going to gain in some way, for sure.
Yeah, and I think always learning. I'm always learning new things, and sometimes it can be challenging. But then you discover new aspects of yourself. You discover, what you're capable of doing. And so it's always, you're always learning. You're always experimenting, and so you're always finding out new things. So life is always fresh. I've lived in Bali for 9 years, but there's so much more to discover here. And over those 9 years, obviously, I've changed a lot. And, every year we see things differently too, don't we? And it's really what we focus on, what we choose to focus on. You can really easily focus on the negative things going on around us, outside of ourselves. But, it's not going to help us, It's like, we have an inner universe that we can connect to, and that we can find the balance there. And then when we go out to the sort of outer universe, the other world, then we're able to cope with everything a lot more better than just sort of, just having everything coming at us. And so I think it's really important to find a place of, stability within ourselves. And that's kind of togetherness, actually, because it's like your soul. It's like connecting to your soul, because so often we could just go through life and we don't even really dig deep into, what are our passions? What do we really want to do? Because time goes so quickly. It's flying by.
Actually, and I think, when you ask someone that question, like, what are you passionate about? People can't answer it. They actually have never thought about it. And I'm like, what lights you up? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, these are things just sometimes you'd be able to sit with yourself quietly, take a moment and ask yourself, like, what really lights me up? Not what lights everyone else up. What it lights you up? How can you feed yourself with love and with joy? And that actually, it really fills your cup. Because then you being of service to yourself, and then you get to be of service to everyone else around you.
Exactly. And everything reflects about you, how you are and your energy. And, when people are so busy with their jobs and they're suffering from stress, and they maybe have a health issue and this and that, it's very hard to sort of get through the sort of fog of, of where you are and where you want to go. And you just sort of get stuck. I know I have done many times. And it's like, sort of pull yourself out of that. And like writing a list, as I do a lot of journaling, and I'm always journaling about things. And journaling, what I'd love to do, go anywhere tomorrow. It would be India, actually. I'd like to go there, and I'd like to go. It's just like, the excitement of possibilities. Then we can make them into reality. If we don't have those dreams, we don't have those sort of, you haven't sort of gone deep, or not have to go that deep, but to sort of investigate what brings us joy, and where we'd like to be and where I'd like to go, or just how we'd like to change our lives in some way, or how I'd like to feel. Then if you don't do that sort of inner investigation, We're just the same. We don't change.
And I think that's, it's about radical self-responsibility, because as a society, we're very good at blaming. If something goes wrong, it's something's fault. It's somebody's fault. It's something's an event's fault. It says, but it's like, what was going on within ourselves that happened, And I think sometimes we have to own it. We have to take radical self-responsibility for our choices, for our part that we've played in these things to have happened, because nothing happens for no reason.
Yeah, and also actually just not avoiding the feelings, because just stuffing down our feelings and putting them in boxes and we'll go back to them later or something, and we never do, is actually really feeling the feelings and then letting them go, and then we actually have the freedom. We've got a blank slate again to fill it up with good things that we're going to enjoy. And
no, absolutely. And that was the one thing I really, talking about a blank slate, I loved about living in Bali was, they don't go, there's no weekends. Every day is a new day. It is. Yeah, I'm like, it's such a beautiful way to live. That day you might have had the shittest day ever. But when you go to bed, you wake up, it's a new day. Yeah. You don't have to, it's a choice to carry that and carry the stories and carry it all into the next day, or you just let it go. You figure it out, like, okay, find solutions. What needs to change? What are the problems? What really is going on? But then you get to wake up the next day and you get to have a different choice of how you're going to navigate this. How can you navigate this choice? What choices are going to be the best choices in that is going to actually bring you the answers or the solutions that you need? And I think that's what I love, because I didn't know what time of day it was. I never knew what day of the week it was. I knew nothing. I was just like, I love living like this. There's no like Monday to Friday, and now you're on a weekend. Nothing. It's just a new day. You go to bed, you wake up, you start again. I was like, yeah, okay, that I get. That's nice.
Yeah, it's hard to remember what day of the week it is. Sometimes I do know what day it is, and then it gets to the afternoon, and I'm like, I don't know what day it is now. It's gone. It is a kind of energy here, and yes, and time goes very quickly. Like 9 years later, it's just like, oh, still here. So we want to sort of fit in all those things that excite us and that we want to do, so we can enjoy life, to the maximum, for sure.
Absolutely. Does anybody? We've got quite a few people live with us. 6 of you. Welcome, all you beautiful.
Time is a construct of the mind. Women are emotional beings, and it's the triggers that affect them. Who said doing is the answer? We are human beings. What if we just be and not do?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
I mean, and it's some people can't even do that for 5 minutes. Just be. So it's really important, absolutely, to actually take some time and just be. Take 5 minutes and just pause and stop and regulate. Regulate. That also helps. Just take some deep breaths into the belly. Just regulate your nervous system. And anything that's going on will instantly feel much easier to manage.
Yeah, it's such an obvious one, the breath, isn't it? But people overlook it because we do it automatically.
I know. I've got a client, 86, and he does not breathe. And I'm like, darling, you've got to breathe, because now he's getting Alzheimer's because there's not enough oxygen going to his brain. I'm like, you've got to breathe. And I'm trying to teach him how to breathe. And I'm like, how have you got through your whole life? No wonder your nervous system is such a mess, because, my God, I'm like, how? People just take it for granted. And it's, it's really, you don't have to do massive stuff, but just belly breaths, literally breathing from into your belly, bringing the air down, and just gently and slowly is so powerful. And to start your day, especially if you suffer from anxiety, to start the day like that, before you do anything, before you pick up your phone, before you do anything, just lie in bed and do 3 minutes of belly breaths, slowly and gently. And honestly, if you had anxiety when you wake up, you will not have anxiety. And then you start the day and more regulated. And then things start to be easier. Things flow much better. But if we start our day, just already stressed, anxiety, stories in our heads, it's like your day is going to be so chaotic. And then everything starts going wrong. Things start happening. And it's just like, you just feel like you're in this constant hamster wheel of stress. But that's where we take control of it. We can control it. We can take responsibility for ourselves and actually deal with it internally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the whole phone thing as well. I mean, we don't need to be, contactable every moment of our day, but it's become kind of sort of accepted in many ways, But yeah, I mean, I love not to have my phone on till lunchtime. I mean, I don't need to at all, So it's actually great, and then you sort of start forgetting about you've even got one, Let's make.
I mean, I don't go on my phone for at least the first 2 hours of my day. I don't. I turn my alarm. If I don't wake up before my alarm, I turn my alarm off, and my phone stays there for the first 2 hours. I drink my water, hot water, do some regulation, take a moment for myself, do some exercise, and then I will start my day and then look at what I need to do. But no, I don't. I can't. I find it just, if I start my day like that, I do not have a good day. I'm so busy, caught up, and I'm disconnected straight off the bat, disconnected. But if I actually start and I start from being internal, inwards, my whole day is so much more grounded and balanced.
I just, all this doom scrolling people talk about. I mean, you can have your apps on, and you can just have them turned off, so you can only have 15 minutes a day or something if you need a reminder. Social media, I just don't really feel. I think Substack is slightly different though, although I'm not on that all day. But I think energy feels like a different energy. But Facebook and all of that, I don't know. I've always found it quite sort of. It's kind of weird. It's never really sat with me. I mean, I liked Instagram because I just love photography, but yeah, I think we're moving away from all of that now, and I think people realize it's taking a lot of energy that you're losing. You're sort of like seeping out energy that you could be putting that energy into yourself and just having a simpler life. And, we don't need to know all about what's going on all the time because it just creates, like you say, more anxiety. And then we become more disconnected from our bodies, and we become more fearful. And then we take these actions that, we wouldn't necessarily do. It's because we're feeling this constant anxiety about what's going on. I mean, we feel it anyway because it's energy, and we're all connected, wherever, we're connected. We feel stuff. Obviously, we're women also, we feel stuff.
And even if you don't go on social media and you don't read the news and you don't think, I can tell you now, you still know what's going on because there are people talk. You are around, you are going to understand what's happening around the world without spending hours and hours on it. Without it,
and
I'm living proof. I don't do any of it. Apart from I go on social media to post, I don't scroll, I don't do anything. But I know everything that's going on around the world because I'm constantly tapping into people. I'm listening, I'm talking, I'm around people, I'm around community. You hear what people have to think, what people are feeling, how people are saying. So I know exactly what's going on. And I think that's what we forget. If you listen to people and you're talking and you're connected, you're still going to know what's going on.
Okay, well, you'll have to tell me because I don't know what's going on. But not that much. But yeah, what else would you like to talk about today? This togetherness building. How do we build that if we don't have it in our lives? How can we build more of community? Because obviously there's things online that, again, it's online, you can connect with. And like we were thinking about having a community sort of catch up with, on Zoom. But yeah, what other ways can we really create this kind of this new world? More
finding what lights you up, what brings, what are your interests? What are your passions? What is your purpose? What do you really enjoy in life? For me, those are my communities, the things I really enjoy, because I'm all about creating as much joy, finding joy no matter what. Like my community, whether it's my community with women, my community, being in nature, going for walks, you can find community going for runs with people. Like if you enjoy exercising, find a local community, go for runs and wherever you live in nature. Like there's so many, but you've got to know what you want, what lights you up, what brings you joy, what makes you happy, what brings a smile to your face. Once you've got that, there's so many communities out there, that you can resonate with, and if you're on a healing journey, there's so many beautiful communities that you can heal with.
Yeah, it's almost like there's too many here in the wood.
Yeah, there you go. You can and again find the energetics of it, and find a community that really adds value to you, that there's a beautiful exchange of energy. It's because some communities you might not energetically connect with, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the community. It's just every community is, it's going to energetically call in the people that will need to be there.
Exactly. And like anything, it's like, I used to go to Kirtan a lot here because I love singing and,
I love it.
And recently I just feel like actually I don't resonate so much. I mean, it's not that I don't like to sing, but I feel like, I don't know. I haven't been moving.
So your energy is moving. And that's okay.
Yeah. And I feel this is more of a time for slightly retreating as well into yourself and into nature, which I have enough here to keep me going. And as opposed to being, it's great. You need your community though. You need our people that can understand us and that we can connect with. But yeah, I think maybe this, there's also a time for retreat and going deeper and, finding out, like you said, what you want and what your priorities are and finding new ways, learning new things.
The beautiful thing about it is there's no right and wrong. Like because I know some people feel pressurized to think about what they want because they're comparing themselves to other people and other whatever, and constantly comparing. And then it becomes like a competition. I'm like, it's whatever is what's here. Like if you can just come out your head for a moment and sit in this heart space of yours, what really brings you happiness? What do you need in life? What do you want in your relationships? What do you want from your community? What do you want from yourself? How can you serve yourself? And when you can start asking yourself and sitting with these questions, you then go like, at first you're like, oh, I don't actually know. And then you realize this is probably why you might feel so disconnected because you're not even spending time understanding who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very powerful part is, who am I? What is my purpose? How do I want to show up in this world? How do I want to be of service? And when you can start figuring that out, then you can start finding then the togetherness comes because then you start attracting your tribe. You start attracting your communities. You start feeling more connected because you're actually in your truth. Not constantly searching for something external of yourself.
Yeah, it all comes from within, doesn't it? It all starts with ourselves and our soul and following our path and finding out what that is and trying new things to discover. And then everything kind of falls into place. It's like a domino. Once you know where you'd like to go or feel or try this, and then the people appear. But it's taking those steps, isn't it? And sometimes, we don't feel so brave in doing that. And but yeah, there's plenty of communities around to connect with, and maybe want to go to one in a different country. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I do quite a lot of that, don't I? I seem to see in a few different countries all the time.
Yeah. Well, we've come up to about half an hour. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. Doesn't look like it. So, if there's any last words you'd like to just find your joy?
What do they want to share with us before we shut down? It's really nice to have you all here, actually.
Yeah, thank you for coming today. It's quite a surprise. And thank you, Ron, for your input. And yeah, thank you. That's great. So maybe we'll just say goodbye and see you next week.
Thank you, my darling. It's always a pleasure and a blessing and an honor to be on these sessions with you.
Yeah.
And thank you to everyone that's joined us today, wherever you are, whether it's your evening, your morning, your afternoon. I hope you find some joy. That's a priority. I hope you have an amazing, magical day. And go and create some joy in your lives.
Okay. Alrighty. Take care. Lovely to see you. Bye.